Thank you for watching Downshift, where we do car reviews, comparisons, lists, and a whole bunch of nonsense. Make sure you watch the videos all the way through and subscribe, because every year 10% of YouTube revenue goes to the Ocean Conservancy. Let's save those turtles. The Lexus RX 350 FSport. Sporty looking SUV with the heart of a hamster. And that's where we're going to start, actually. Because this is the FSport, we're going to expect it does things a little bit more fun and enjoyable than a typical SUV would. Now, the thing you have to know about the FSport is it's mostly an appearance package, and yes, it does look phenomenal. When they pulled this thing up this week, I was like, wow, this is a great looking car with the satin gray paint and the darker gunmetal wheels and the new revised spindle grille. Looks really cool, really aggressive. However, that doesn't translate behind the wheel. From a dynamic perspective, the only thing the FSport really brings is some minor suspension adjustments. So there's no powertrain adjustments whatsoever, giving it more kick. And as far as dynamic turn-in and handling, it's a pretty decent size SUV. So there's not a whole lot to be desired there. Underneath the hood is still a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6. It gives you about 295 horsepower and about 267 pound-feet of torque. And it's okay. If you want a little bit more power, you can get the 400H, which is the same powertrain, but with the addition of two electric motors for the hybrid system. It doesn't really change the experience at all, and to be honest, it doesn't really change the miles per gallon and the range either. So, behind the wheel, if you do step on it, you'll get to 60 in about 6.9 seconds, which is nothing to write home about, especially when you consider the way that this thing looks. And steering is a bit vague, but the place that this RX shines is in the ride itself. You don't buy a Lexus, specifically an RX, for sport, performance, and dynamicism. You buy it for comfort and luxury, and that's where this thing excels. But it's still very quiet in here. It's very relaxed. The seats are incredibly comfortable. I have plenty of space. There's a nice panoramic roof, bringing in lots of light. It feels really good to be here. It's very comfortable, and on long distance trips, this RX is going to fare exceptionally well. Now, speaking of those long distance trips, let's assume that this is a family SUV, because that's ultimately what it is. And you'll probably have kids in here, and you might take it on a family road trip. So how would that go? Well, from my experience, there's plenty of room in the back seat for three comfortably, and there's plenty of trunk space. The only competitor that outdoes this car in trunk space is the Cadillac XT5, and that says something about the way that this can accommodate things. We went to Target this week, and yes, we're in the peak of coronavirus, so we were trying not to touch anything, especially keeping our friends at Drive Shop safe, who deliver these cars. Shout out to them, by the way. We used the kick to open tailgate, and we fit a bunch of bins in the back. And it was great. Plenty of room, super easy, and kick to open, so it stayed clean. And then you get up to the cockpit area here, and the thing that really dominates you is the build materials and the design and the way that things are brought together. Now, Lexus has always been really, really good at bringing together a very upscale and rich feeling cabin. And Lexus has done that here once again. Everything that you interact with up here is fantastic. The leathers are incredibly soft, the stitching is very accurate, there's some, weird kind of feeling grooved metal in the center console area. All of the plastics even have a nice feel and finish to them, and the knobs for the volume and tuner, they have a nice weight to them. So everything that you interact with is a very upscale experience, so that's where Lexus gets its reputation. However, there are some shortfalls up here in the cabin, namely the infotainment system. Now, this has been a complaint for people living with a Lexus for years. They used to have this old kind of joystick mouse pad sort of control knob, and people hated it. So they went to a trackpad style. And until the year 2020, this model year, it was just a trackpad. And if you'll notice, the screen was actually situated further away from the driver. I'm assuming to minimize distractions, but it's because it wasn't a touchscreen. 2020 doesn't have a whole lot of updates, but it technically is what a mid-cycle refresh would be considered, because they've brought the touchscreen closer. It is now touchscreen, and you have more control that way, because Lexus knows that this is not people's favorite. This is kind of a mid-cycle refresh, so there are a couple things that are different. Namely, like I said, the system is closer, it's touchscreen, but there are also some things on the outside that are a bit different. The spindle grille for the FSport is changed a little bit. It's more dramatic. It's like a black chrome style. Holy crap, there's a bunch of deer crossing the street. 7, 8. Yes, so the spindle grille is a little bit different. The front bumper accents are a little bit more embellished. And the wheel patterns, the multi-spoke wheels on this FSport trim are phenomenal. They look great, and especially finished in that darker gunmetal, it gives it a more aggressive flair and look to it. And finally, the thing that stands out for all people when looking at the face of a Lexus is the LED running lights. And Lexus has gone back and forth with different models and different years on if they want the LED check, we'll call it, to be integrated within the headlight capsule, or if they want it to be a separate LED thing just below within the bumper. They've brought it back into the headlight casing this year, and you know, I think it looks really good. I like being in this car. I like driving it. I don't usually like red interior, but I actually really like the way this cabin comes together with the red and the gray and the lighter silver. And there's a lot of toning for the different colors and contrasting, and it comes together really, really well. And the exterior, I think, looks fantastic. It's not super sporty, but it's incredibly comfortable. There's loads of amenities. If it had a more navigable infotainment system and 100 more pound-feet of torque and 50 more horsepower, I think it would be really the only thing to buy in this segment. So that leads me to final thoughts, which are this. This is the RX 350 FSport, and we have to account for that name. And it doesn't make it any more sporty than the other RXs. However, Mercedes offers an AMG line that's just a body kit. Audi has an S line that's basically just a body kit. BMW is really the only one with its M Sport that adds, more tuning to the suspension, but doesn't add power. So it's very much in line with the rest of it. So the question remains, should you buy the FSport? And my answer is this: yeah, I would, because you have to understand you're getting one of the most reliable, comfortable, luxurious, premium feeling, expensive, and honestly, thanks to the FSport, the best looking SUVs in this segment, because of the FSport. So yes, you pay a little bit more. This car as an FSport starts around $49,000. But that's fine, because it comes with all of these things and you get such a cool looking SUV. Yeah, it's not as sporty as it looks, but that's fine, because it's still going to be so great in every other aspect. Well, sport and technology, but still, great car overall. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click on one of these info cards here to watch the best things and the worst things about this RX 350 FSport.